Hello everyone and welcome. If you're watching the replay, please bear with me while I wait for everyone to jump on. We have a very, very important topic that Spirit has asked me to touch on today. And it's extremely important in order for us as a society to come to not just an understanding, but an overstanding of a large sector of our society that we are failing. We are failing them. And the reason why we're failing them is because we are ignoring or devaluing their experiences, or invalidating is what I want to say. Invalidating their experiences. This is an extremely, extremely important topic. So I'm gonna wait for everyone to jump on a little bit before we get in. We do have badges on, so if you wish to support the community by purchasing a badge, you can do so. And I thank you for the badges in advance. I ask that if you have any questions regarding this topic, please wait until I'm done speaking, or assumptions or anything like that. Please wait until I'm done speaking, because I need to explain this concept, and it may take a few minutes to explain it. So please bear with me while we get started. Before I get started, I'm going to explain to you my experience and what the experience I am speaking from. Today we are talking about spiritual phenomenon and mental illnesses or mental disorders. Okay, I am speaking from a place of someone who studied abnormal psychology. I am not a licensed psychologist. However, I did study abnormal psychology. I studied the psychology of serial killers. I studied the psychology of abnormal, or what people claim as abnormal people, in college. While I was going to criminal justice school. I have studied my entire life the spiritual phenomenon behind these experiences, and I first learned the spiritual name for these disorders and these illnesses before I even learned the psychological name for them and the symptoms for them. Okay, so that is where my experience is coming from when I speak about spiritual phenomenon and mental disorders. Okay, we have many mental disorders that I have come across in my clients, and this ranges from schizophrenia to borderline personality disorder to bipolar disorder, chronic depressive, and I have, both through my own experiences and through experiences of my clients, and also of my spiritual clients, and also of certain family members and friends, I have experienced the psychosis and the depressive episodes through these people. And also myself, I experienced severe depression and suicidal tendencies. When I was younger, I displayed these. And here's the thing. As I am challenging psychologists right now, because it's taken me 9 years to come to this conclusion that I came to today while having a conversation with Archangel Raphael. It took me 9 years to come to this conclusion, okay? So I'm challenging psychologists, and I'm challenging energy healers. I'm challenging spiritual healers to open their mind, to expand their knowledge, to expand what they think they know about these situations. Because on one side, we have spiritual healers and spirit energy healers that look at these mental disorders and they'll demonize it automatically off the bat, demonize it. And then we have, on the other side, we have psychologists and psychiatrists that are looking at it from such a masculine perspective, toxic masculine perspective, where it's completely invalidated, and the experiences of these people are being invalidated, and in turn we as a society are failing people. We're failing people, and we're failing highly intelligent, highly emotionally intelligent, highly perceptive, highly creative people. We are failing them because we are automatically just writing them off as crazy, okay? And we are not acknowledging the fact that there is a spiritual phenomenon attached to these mental disorders. And instead of suppressing them, we should be helping them balance their shadows, okay? Because a lot of these phenomenons these more negative experiences come from shadows that are over suppressed and then become angry, and then they lash out against the person who is actually experiencing them. And we are telling people that are asking for our help, why don't you just try to be normal, okay? And that is not correct, okay? These are highly intelligent people. This is kind of like someone who's immune to pneumonia telling someone with pneumonia, why can't you just not have pneumonia, okay? These are highly intelligent people, highly spiritually powerful people that are being suppressed through psychiatry, through medication. I'm not saying don't take your medications. No, I agree with medications to a certain degree. There are certain natural medications as well as certain psychiatric medication that can help deal with the chemical aspects and can help deal with the physical aspects of these disorders, but they are not dealing with the energetic or the spiritual phenomenon behind these disorders. So that is why a lot of the time people grow out of their medication, because their shadows are growing out of it. Okay, so instead of because what's happening is when we're just medicating people, we're not just suppressing the shadow self, we are also suppressing the superpower of these people. These people are people with superpowers. As someone who is a high empath, I can tell you that I experienced severe depression because of my empathic power, okay? My ability to be so psychic and so energetically in tune was first awakened in a place where I didn't understand it, and until I received the spiritual assistance with it, I was bombarded and overwhelmed by the energy behind my empathic abilities. And because of that, I was extremely massively depressive, to the point where I was actually experiencing physical manifestations of my depression. Okay, I was experiencing spirits in the corners of the room crying, these female spirits crying in the corners of the room, physical manifestations of my depression. And I was experiencing these things, and I did not understand them until my grandfather helped me understand the spiritual aspect of it, and actually did certain ceremonies to remove some of the spiritual energy. Okay, and what I have come to find is that Reiki healers are extremely, extremely powerful in helping with these energies, and that shadow healing is extremely powerful, and that shadow integration is extremely powerful and extremely necessary. Instead of suppressing your shadow, learning to actually become friends with your shadow, and learning to actually have a mutual understanding with your shadows. And when you have a mutual understanding with your shadows and remove the demonization and remove the fear, you are able to have a normal life on that aspect of you, and be able to actually shine on the parts of you that are your superpower related to this energy. And when I say that, is the problem is that on both sides, both on the psychiatric side and on the spiritual side, we are looking at these things as separate things, when in reality they are intertwined. There are chemical reasons, there are physical reasons, there are mental reasons, and there are spiritual phenomenons related with this situation. What's happening here is, it's kind of like when you look at X-Men, right? the X-Men, have people that have mutations that are physically projected. They're physical, there are actual physical third dimensional things that these people in like the X-Men movies can do, right? Think of people with mental disorders as mutants that have the ability, that have super powerful abilities that have not yet learned how to control their powers. And because they have not yet learned how to control their powers, they go to people who are supposed to know how to help them. But instead, they are told you need to suppress yourself, because we live in a toxic masculine society where the masculine energies are telling you you need to make everything make sense, everything has to be logical, nothing can be energetic. That is kind of like the colonial mindset. No offense to anybody, but this is the toxic masculinity, toxic patriarchy that we live in, okay? Whereas these are people that are highly emotionally intelligent. They are living in the divine feminine aspect, and they need help dealing with the toxic feminine energies, which are the darker shadows, the darker, and these are things that exist both in male and females. I'm not talking about gender here, I'm talking about energy. So you have this large group of people that are actually spiritually gifted, that live and have these amazing divine feminine gifts, but are being treated from a place of toxic masculinity. So therefore there is no empathy, there is no trying to understand where these people are coming from and how these people are experiencing this. And if you haven't experienced psychosis, or you haven't experienced depression for yourself, your opinion is toilet paper to me. What matters to me here is the opinion of people who have actually experienced these things, because I've actually, or who have family members where they have experienced it through their family members, or maybe they have and I'm challenging psychologists and I'm challenging energy healers to understand both aspects of it. Okay? And I have spent, like I said, 9 years self-studying, trying to figure out how to cure myself, how to cure my depression. Come to find out, all I needed to do was learn how to love my shadows and how to create a symbiotic relationship with my shadows. Okay? And once I learned to accept and love my shadows, I have been able to live. And once I have removed certain toxic energies from my life, that's another thing too, the removal of toxic energy, the removal of heavy energy needs to happen in order to help people integrate their shadows, understand their shadows, in order to be able to live a healthy life, where they can have certain medications that assist them. There are also for myself, I have utilized valerian root, but if you're on Western antidepressants, do not consume valerian root. I'm not giving any kind of medical advice here. I'm telling you my experience. So I have treated with the help of other spiritual professionals. I have utilized valerian root because I also studied spiritual herbalism. I understand the spiritual and the medicinal aspects of certain plants, of many plants. So we have to remove the toxic energy around these people. And also, when you have people that have parents that are toxic, that are very toxic feminine or very toxic masculine, you have these very sensitive souls in these, and being children to these parents. It makes it even harder for them to learn to trust themselves, to overcome their shadows, integrate their shadows, and do the energy work, and not just in addition to their medicinal work, doing the energy work necessary to actually be able to live a healthy life. So instead of suppressing these energies, we should be working to help people balance their energies. so that they can balance their shadows and be able to excel in their light. Okay, that is what Archangel Raphael and I came to a conclusion to today when I was having my meditation, is that the way that our society is currently structured, it is structured to enforce others and to push others to dim their light. And when people don't fit into our toxic masculine perspective of what normal looks like, because this toxic masculine perspective is both on women do it, men do it, doesn't matter. This toxic masculine perspective is everything is physical, everything needs to be able to be seen, to be touched, to have logic to it, and that is toxic. Okay? This toxic, our society as a whole, for years, for centuries, and even when I was studying with some of my older spiritual healers, I noticed that they always fell into the trap of demonizing the shadow self, of demonizing these shadows and not understanding that the intention of these shadows isn't always evil. It is trying to get acknowledged so that it can be healed. Okay, because a lot of the things that I had to do was I had to acknowledge my shadows. I had to acknowledge the shadows that would tell me to doubt myself. I had to acknowledge the shadows that would tell me to commit suicide and say to them, this is not really how I feel. This is how you feel, and you cannot be here anymore. And work with my guardian angels to send those energies back to the whole of that is God, because remember, God is both good and evil. So, or whatever you perceive good and evil to be, send them back to where they need to go. Okay, so we need to be teaching people how to manage their shadows, because this is an ongoing thing, right? I get weekly energy healings. I recommend weekly energy healings for anyone who has mental disorders. And understanding too that a lot of the borderline personality disorders are literally two separate people. It may not be real to you, but that doesn't make it not real for someone else. Okay, there's much deeper than that. We are ignoring our emotional selves. We are ignoring our emotional intelligence, and we're being told to downplay our superpower. About the fact that we actually are people who suffer from, or who are labeled as suffering from certain mental disorders, are people that are highly intelligent, highly emotionally, energetically intelligent, and are being told they are crazy. And that they should just try to be normal. Okay? Because there is a deeper aspect of it. We need to empower them, empower those who are experiencing these things to heal their shadows, integrate their shadows, and have a healthy relationship with their light and their shadows, so that they can come out of their shell and be able to share their light with the world, because they have superpowers. They have abilities that are meant to change the collective for the better. Okay? It's important for us to empower. It's important for us to acknowledge. It's important for us to advocate for those who are struggling with the toxic masculinity in this society, and bring in more of that divine feminine energy into our healing practices. Because psychiatry, even spirituality has developed such a toxic masculine energy to it. And that toxic masculine energy is neither divine nor helpful. And it makes it extremely difficult for people to want to live in this world, because the energies are so heavy. The toxic masculine energies and the toxic feminine energies are so heavy. Okay? Because a lot of mental illnesses, you're experiencing the lashing out of toxic femininity. because it's tired of being suppressed. It's tired of being pushed down. It's tired of being told you don't matter. You cannot be acknowledged. And that is what's happening when we have a structure in our society that is literally toxic masculinity. And I'm not talking about males. I'm not saying men are bad. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about toxic masculinity as an energy. The energy that everything has to be logical. There is nothing outside of the logical. That's what I'm talking about. There is definitely a lot outside of the logical. Literally, logical is like 50, not even 50%. Because the spiritual world is so much bigger than the logical world. So we need to understand. And then you have people on the spiritual side that are so in the emotional and energetic that become toxic in their demonizing of everything that isn't normal. Because they haven't actually experienced it themselves. They've experienced maybe a lot of them have experienced the lighter aspects of spirituality, but have not actually experienced the darker aspects of spirituality, which I actually have. And I got into this work because I wanted to figure out how to heal myself first, so that I could help heal other people. It's taken me 9 years to come to this conclusion that I just happen to have higher intelligence when it comes to energy and emotion, and many other people do as well. While I have psychologists over here trying to tell me that I'm crazy because of my spiritual gifts, or I have religious people over here trying to tell me that I'm gonna go to hell, and that all my spiritual gifts that I experience are demonic. So it's like, y'all aren't helping. Because we are taking ordinary people, are trying to suppress extraordinary people. So what we can do as a society is start to listen to what these people actually need, and start to realize that there are different strengths in the universe. There are spiritual strengths, there are emotional strengths, there are emotionally intelligent people, and then there are logically intelligent people. These are two different types of people. The logically intelligent people succeed in the third dimension because it's very focused. Right now, the third dimension is very focused on the logical and what can be seen. While there are people who are literally mentally in the fourth and fifth dimension trying to figure out how to survive in the third dimensional realm, which is the logical realm, but they're extremely sensitive. These people are extremely sensitive to the emotional and energetic realm. And they're trying to figure out how to live in the third dimensional realm. So the best way that we can help these people is having empathy. And I really do challenge, if there is a behavioral psychologist that wants to work with me on figuring out and coming together to build a spiritual process, a spiritual and psychological process for healing and for balancing and allowing the people with mental disorders to have a healthy lifestyle, I'm open to that. I'm open to working with you. I'm challenging psychologists. I'm challenging other spiritual healers to open up your mind and expand your understanding. Because I had to learn a lot of psychology in order to understand what was happening spiritually. And I had to learn a lot of spirituality and a lot of spirit. I had to spend a lot of time in spirit. To be able to understand what was happening psychologically, to not just myself, but to the people, to other people that are in my family, in my friend group, in my clients, because there is definitely there's more to this than just there is a spiritual phenomenon attached to these mental disorders. It's not just that people are crazy. That is the way that the toxic masculinity has devalued and invalidated people with high intelligence, emotional and energetic intelligence. And we need to start bringing in more of that divine masculine understanding. The divine masculine understanding is the understanding that, yes, things have explanations, but there are things that we cannot explain just from the logical perspective. So I'm challenging us as a society to bring in the divine masculine understanding and the divine feminine healing into this situation, so that we can create a better society, so that our society can flourish, and we can allow people to work in the things that really truly are their gifts, their life purposes. Because a lot of people who are highly emotionally and energetically intelligent are meant to work in creative fields. They're meant to be tradesmen and tradeswomen, people who create things in the physical realm. And yet we are forcing them into these cubicles, into these boxes that are extremely unhealthy for them and extremely destructive for the purpose of greed, for the purpose of the toxic masculinity that we have built our society upon. So I know this is a big challenge, and I'm not putting anybody down, and I'm not saying that people with mental disorders are somehow better than people who aren't, who don't have mental disorders. I'm not saying that people who are logical are less than people who are, emotionally and energetically intelligent. They are unique and special in their own way. However, we need to come together to remove the need for people who don't have these experiences, to the need to demonize and to invalidate those people who do have these experiences and who are emotionally intelligent, who are energetically intelligent. It's a big challenge, but there has to be a balance, because right now we're living in that very big we've been so focused in everything that we can see that we have completely disregarded the good aspects of the things we cannot see. Okay? And someone who does have a mental disorder, or someone who does have spiritual phenomenon, they're not crazy. They may not be your type of normal, but they are normal for them. They are their normal. Everyone's normal is slightly different. And their normal may be that they have to balance, they have to work every day to balance their shadows and their light, so that they can live in their light and they can flourish in this reality, in the societal reality that we have. Hi. So, yeah, that's all that I'm saying. Helping them to find the balance. And we need to stop the demonization of everything that we don't understand. Not everything is a demonic possession. Not everything is a haunting. Not everything is that from a spiritual perspective. And then from a psychological perspective, not everything needs to be medicated right away. I think we're over medicating. Medication is important. I'm not saying medication is not important. So don't stop taking your medications. Consult your mental professionals. But we're over medicating. We're over medicating because we don't want to have to do the work to understand what we don't see. And I care about the opinions of those who have experienced this and who are either working as mental professionals that are looking to understand this, or have experienced it from their own firsthand experience. And again, if you are somebody who who hasn't experienced these things and you are reluctant to even try to understand it, your opinion is like toilet paper to me, honestly. I'm not trying to be offensive, but in this situation it is, because we can't keep throwing pills at something, because not everything can be healed. Not everything needs to be cured. Not everything needs to be healed in that way. And not everything requires a cure either. There's a lot of people who are like, you know what, I'm highly intuitive, but I can't handle it because I'm always knowing things before other people, and it's like, and people are kind of like pushing them into being their type of normal. Intuitiveness and, you know, emotional intelligence, energetic intelligence is not something that needs to be healed or cured. It's something that is normal for that person. And these are things that ancient people used to honor and used to put value on and used to have very good treatments for. However, because of organized religion, because of a lot of these highly toxic masculine scientific views, we have pushed people into believing that everything that they experience needs to have a pill to cure it. Yeah. And there's so much that you can do with getting more. Again, I'm not saying that there are not people that don't need to be medicated. I am for medication if it's appropriate for that situation. But people are underestimating, exactly like Apollina just said, a lot of people are underestimating the power of sunshine. They're telling you to take a pill or to get a jab for something that could seriously be dealt with your own immune system and with your own body, by getting more sunshine, by moving your body, by eating fruits and vegetables, by properly getting the nourishment that you need, by removing stagnant and toxic energy from your aura, by teaching people to meditate. Okay, there's a lot of things that need to be taught, like meditation. Teaching people how to meditate properly so that they can learn to understand their own energy and know their own energy versus when somebody else's energy is affecting their energy. As an energy healer, I know what my own energy feels like. And when I'm around somebody who's very toxic, after I'm done having that conversation with that person, my energy feels like I'm covered in black goo. And this is something that we need to start talking about more. We need to start validating more, because pushing it away, suppressing it by over medication, putting people in mental asylums, electric shock therapy, all these different experiments that are so based in toxic masculinity, where you could literally just do what a caring grandmother would do and sit down with someone and really try to understand and put yourself in someone's shoes and really try to understand what they are experiencing, instead of automatically saying, you're crazy, we need to put you in a straitjacket, we need to do electroshock therapy, we need to medicate you. Actually, it's like we're not even practicing medicine. We can't even call this medicine. This is just like pill confetti here. And it's not really the most appropriate way to treat these things for a long-term healthy lifestyle. Because what happens is, the reason why a lot of people don't want to take the medication is because you're not just suppressing their shadow that they are having a hard time with, you're suppressing their light, and then they walk around like zombies, and nobody wants to walk around like a zombie with no level of passion or inspiration. And there are some people that are highly intelligent. Okay, you have people on the other spectrum that are highly divinely masculine, highly intelligent, and are super overwhelmed by toxic femininity, or super overwhelmed by the energetic aspect of things. Yes, completely correct. Okay, like we have people um, you have a lot of people that are highly intelligent that have no social ability. And that is because they are overly in the divine masculine. So they're super intelligent and they have no way and no understanding of how to deal with energetic energies. It's too heavy for them. It's too much. It's overwhelming. So you have people that are overwhelmed by logical concepts, and then you have people that are overwhelmed by energetic energies. So we have to come together to figure out a balance, and the balance is different for every person. That's another thing. We are trying to treat that's kind of like what organized religion does, right? Organized religion tries to fit one religion on everybody. No, our fingerprints are not the same. Why should our religions be the same exact experience from one person to another? Our fingerprints are not the same. Our minds are not the same. Our hearts are not the same. So how are we going to treat everybody with the same exact treatment and expect it to work, expect it to succeed? No, we need professionals both in the spiritual and the psychological realm to come together and help every single person find their individual treatment for a healthy lifestyle. People with ADHD are actually highly intuitive, highly intelligent, highly functioning, which is why they overwhelm everybody around them, and they're bored with mundane BS. Excuse my language, but they are. It's like, why are we even like talking about this? Like, I'm already on 30 other subjects and you're still on the same subject. Okay, that is and then we want to act and marginalize those people, like, you know. And then we have people that are just obsessive over the same thing, and that's a different perspective, that's a different aspect. It's like, I'm already on 30 other aspects, you know. People with ADHD are like, okay, I already talked about 30 other things and you're still talking about the same thing. And a lot of the times they're highly intelligent people that just don't have the time to sit there and obsess about the same thing. And the current system that we have of education for them is, this current school system is a system of multiplication, creating multiple how should I say this, assembly line people. Our education system is set up still to this day to create people who work in factories, in the assembly line system, to this day. And then we wonder why people with ADHD don't want to do that. That's not what they want. They don't want to be a cookie cutter. They don't want to be a product of a cookie cutter. They have other higher purposes, which are to have creative, be innovators, be entrepreneurs. Okay, yet we don't want to give loans. We give $200,000-$300,000 of loans to someone who wants to be a cookie cutter person, right? Who wants to learn a cookie cutter trade, but we won't give $300,000 to someone with ADHD to be an entrepreneur and to figure out their path in their creative endeavor. Nobody wants to be a zombie. But we have to look at the elephant in the room and realize that our society has pushed us into a place where we have to all have this cookie cutter lifestyle. Everyone is supposed to do everything at the same time. Everyone is supposed to have a house at a certain time. Everybody is supposed to have children at a certain time. Everybody is supposed to go to college at the same time. Everybody is supposed to whatever, have their little cookie cutter life at a certain time, and that's not how it works. Not everybody doesn't have the same spirit guides, yet everybody wants to push, this society wants to push the same religion, the same belief system, the same thing on everybody, when every single person, every single soul is different. We don't even look exactly the same, yet we're still trying to pretend that we are all the same. And then we wonder why the world is collapsing and why so many people are going, you know what, I don't want to deal with this anymore. We ignore the suicidal tendencies of someone because it's uncomfortable to look at. It's uncomfortable to deal with. Yet we want to be upset when the person does commit suicide. It's hypocritical. So we have to push ourselves to do better as a society. And I'm challenging you, and I know this is probably not what you expected today from someone who usually just brings you tarot and magic, but there are higher subjects, there are more important, I want to say more important, more higher, but deeper subjects that I am interested in, that I have studied over the last 10 years. And it's important for me to bring this to light. It's important for me to advocate for those people who are too afraid to advocate for themselves because they don't have any professional in the spiritual community, or not that many in the psychological community, saying, hey, what you are experiencing is valid, rather than saying what you're experiencing is extremely abnormal or it's demonic and therefore there's something wrong with you, we have to fix you. Okay? Balance. What we need is less trying to cure people and more trying to help them find their balance in their own cocktail. Because every single person is a unique cocktail. And we need to work on that, on balancing that cocktail so that it has the proper flavor. Okay? So that's it. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead and leave them in the comments so that I can answer them. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. If any of you have any questions about what I just said, you're welcome. And stop telling yourself that you're not normal. If you are experiencing these things, you stop telling yourself you're not normal. You are extraordinary. Okay? I may just go on and study psychology. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, study it. Bring your own. How are we supposed to bring innovation if we are just repeating the same cycles over and over again and applying the same thing to everybody over and over again? You are extraordinary. You're not crazy. You're not different. You're extraordinary. And that's okay. That's more than okay. Because it's the extraordinary people that push us forward into a better future. And it's important too, even as parents. I wanted to wait to have children until I understood more about this. And that's why I spent the last 9-10 years working on understanding this, okay? And I still am learning new things every day about it. But it's important too for those of us who have children to teach our children to be more empathetic to those who are extraordinary, who are different, because they are having a completely different experience than a normal child, or what we perceive as normal in our society. Okay, and also a lot of people who are highly intelligent and who are highly energetically and emotionally intelligent, they are made to feel like they are not from this world, like they have no right being here. And that's something that we have to also change, because there's a reason why you incarnated on Earth. there's a reason you incarnated on Earth. There's a reason that you're supposed to connect with nature, connect with Earth, with this planet. And that is because you were meant to experience this planet, and you shouldn't be made to feel like you don't belong here. Because you came here to help this planet elevate. And that's what we came here for. So instead of being disconnected from this planet, we came here to be connected to this planet and to help this planet flourish. Explain by what you mean by that, Feather, because I don't understand what you mean by that. And it's just something that maybe there is for the people who are older, maybe there's things we can do to help repair the damage that has been done. And then for other people who are younger, the more we know, the better parents we can be, so that we can give those who are highly intelligent, emotionally and energetically, give them the right skills to thrive in society in their own way, and open up a way for them to thrive and to succeed in society. Maybe society is what needs to change a little bit more, but we are all afraid of change because we fear what we cannot understand. So maybe if we can open up a space for those who are emotionally and energetically intelligent, because right now we're only valuing those who are logically intelligent. We are only valuing those who are methodical and scientific, but we are forgetting and leaving behind those who are highly intelligent, not realizing that those who are highly intelligent and more emotionally and energetically are the ones that push forward our culture, that create culture, that create art, that create its new innovations. Our life would be very boring without people who are emotionally intelligent, without artists, without singers, without all of those people who are expressive. Okay, I see what you're saying. People with special needs, not socially developed yet intensely. Okay, I see what you're saying. For those who are not reading the chat, Feather said special needs where they are not socially developed yet intensely intelligent and gifted in others, and society forced them to do and be on your own before they are prepared. That is true. What I have found with people who are highly very logically or very intelligent, but they are not maybe socially intelligent, is that it's extremely important to not try to push them to be so like everybody else, to work within their strengths. Okay, Sam is somebody who does not like to socialize very much, but she's extremely logically intelligent. She has a lot of her own spiritual experiences too, in addition to her intelligence. So aside from Sam, I have experienced other people that are like this, that are highly intelligent people, and are overwhelmed by energy. So what I find is that meditation, and we live in a society that praises extroverts and suppresses introverts. It's okay for someone to be introverted. We feel uncomfortable because they don't give us the emotional reaction that we are expecting from them. So a lot of us who are more extroverted are like intimidated by people that are introverted. We're intimidated by people that are highly intelligent, and we can't figure them out because they're not giving us the emotional reaction that we expect. So that's another side of the spectrum where we should learn to have more empathy for those who are not emotionally triggered the way that we may be, and allow them to live within their and flourish within their specialty. When people who, so as someone who experienced who who is an empath, I am a highly functional empath. Someone who's an empath, the energies of this world are so heavy sometimes, and one of the things that I would highly suggest is energy healing. Things like Reiki can really help remove some of that heavy energy. Okay, can help remove that heavy energy so that people who have empathic abilities and learning to build energetic barriers around yourself. I had to learn to build energetic barriers around myself so that I wasn't always taking on other people's emotions, other people's problems. Okay, I love Howlite because it's a high vibrational crown chakra stone. And the crown chakra, when it's balanced, it's able to put a barrier around you of energetic protection so that you are not absorbing all those emotions, all that energy from other people. Yeah, it's important I would suggest getting Reiki sessions like every single week. And the reason why I say that is because I take spiritual baths, and because I'm constantly working with other people's energy, I have to make sure that my own energy is good as an empath. And it's cleared. Okay? So, and that I'm cutting cords too. So using things like selenite wands to cut cords. Start covering the head, because when or wearing things like the Howlite stone is kind of like wearing a covering on your head to protect any darker energy. Tends to stay away from the crown chakra when you're wearing stones like Howlite, high vibrational stone, or skulcite. This is kind of intense though for a child, so I would suggest Howlite, because those darker low vibrational energies cannot come within the aura. Okay, so that's why it's important to understand the aura as well. The aura, our aura, a lot of people who are empathic, our aura gets invaded 24/7 by other energy and by other people who don't understand boundaries. Okay, because there's a lot of people that don't understand boundaries and want to just unload on empaths because it makes them feel better, because it's like that energy vampire. Okay? Yes, it's very overwhelming, especially when I think in society we need to learn energetic, and which is something that is not taught, and I have learned to understand. We, as a society, we have to learn energetic and emotional boundaries. We don't have those, and we unfortunately a lot of kids that are empathic, a lot of kids that are and emotionally and energetically intelligent are living with energy vampires. And it's extremely difficult because the energy vampire constantly wants to get an emotional reaction from you because they don't have the ability to create it for themselves, so they need to suck it out of somebody else. Or a lot of energy vampires, a lot of narcissistic people, they don't have the ability to create their own positive energy, so they have to suck it out of somebody else, and it's extremely difficult, especially when it's your parent, when it's somebody that you're in a romantic relationship with. So that's extremely difficult for an empath to deal with. And a lot of the times, empaths don't want to suck the energy of somebody else when they actually truly need it. When will I sell stones so you can get it from me? I have been thinking about it. I've been working with a crystal master, a crystal doctor, to help me understand crystals even more than I already do. So I may start selling them next year. We'll see. Yes, the energy vampire can be the parent, and that's the worst part, especially because energy vampires, narcissists are not able to see outside of themselves. They're not able to receive criticism. A lot of them, not all of them, because I'm actually seeing some narcissists that are becoming spiritually aware and are actually trying to heal themselves and understand how they can not be so much of a narcissist. So I'm not going to say all narcissists are like this, because I have experienced some clients that actually have been diagnosed with narcissism disorder and are actually doing the spiritual work to heal that, to try to understand how they can become less of an energy vampire on others, learning how to become their own energy generators so that they're not sucking the energy of other people. Yes, Sylvia, I commend you for looking for those resources as well. So it's really important to utilize the energies as an empath, especially things like crystals. I don't suggest self-medicating with plants. I suggest going to an herbalist, a spiritual herbalist, a medicinal herbalist, to receive some information about what plants would be good for you based on the different psychological disorders that you may have been diagnosed with. But understanding that there is a spiritual concept to it, and also working with, again, I'm not trying to push out the psychiatrist and the psychologist. I am simply challenging them to try to understand that there is another aspect of it, and to come together with us to heal this and to help people have a balanced, healthy lifestyle. So yeah, so for empaths, I'm an empath, like I said. I'm an energy generator empath. So do I have any recommendation for herbalist schools? Not, well, I've gone to a few different herbalist schools, okay? So for spiritual herbalism, there's really not a lot of schools. It's really more of self-study, which is what I have done and also with my elders. But when it comes to medicinal herbalism, there's the Florida School of Holistic Medicine. Florida School of Holistic Medicine. I've also taken some courses with Miami University, who had some botany courses and medicinal herbalism courses. I've also done a lot of self-study with medicinal herbalism. There is a book called Clinical Herbalism, which is really, really good. It's a really good read. Clinical Herbalism. I will put a link in my bio for the medicinal herbalism books that I would suggest. Yeah, so we have to be open. Yeah, that's what I'm looking to open up the mind of psychologists, psychiatrists, to understand that there is a spiritual aspect to the mental. Yes, limpias, exactly. Cleansings, that's what I do. Cleansings, Reiki, meditation, clearing my energy. That's what helps me on my personal side, so that I can help those who come to me on my professional side. This is Howlite. Howlite. This one is Skullsite, but Skullsite is it's kind of considered unicorn horn. Some people call it unicorn horn, but it's it kind of looks like bone. Some people call it unicorn horn in some practices. Skullsite, because it looks like a skull. It looks like bone, right? But this one is very high vibrational, so I would start them with the howlite and then maybe skullite. But the howlite for sure, for things like shungite as well, because EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, can also affect people who are empathic, people who are mediums, people who are living in the threshold between the spiritual and the physical realm. Shungite can be very protective as well to help with those EMF energies. Yes, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that people who aren't mentally, I'm not saying that people who are mentally ill are not draining. I understand that. I understand that they can be draining, as well. And I'm not placing blame on anyone. I am simply saying that we need to become more empathic to what they're experiencing so that we can actually help them. So I'm not blaming anyone. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you do. Exactly. We have premenstrual disorders as well. Menstruation is a very holy, very spiritually important time. In my practices, we're taught that when we're going through menstruation, we should be by ourselves, connecting with our divine feminine energies and journaling, taking spiritual cleanses, stuff like that for ourselves, not doing anything with other people's energy. If somebody doesn't want the help, you can't really help them. But if someone is asking you for help, is what I'm saying. If someone is asking us for help, we need to have the empathy to understand where they're coming from, and to allow them to figure out how they want to go about, what they want to go about doing. Because I think we're doing a lot of experimenting on people before we try to even understand what is going on. Okay, we need to diagnose people properly before we start giving out treatments, is what I am saying here. And if they don't want the help, they don't want the help. You can't force someone who doesn't want help to receive it. But you can explain it. You can say, hey, I don't want to invalidate your experience, but I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. Because a lot of the frustration and not wanting help comes from a feeling that you're going to be ostracized, a feeling that you're going to be pushed aside and outcasted, that you're going to be judged. It comes from fear of being judged. That's why a lot of people say, I don't want help, because they don't want to either acknowledge that they need the help, because they are afraid of being called other. So it's important to normalize needing spiritual and mental assistance with certain situations. Is intergenerational depression a generational curse? Some people consider it a curse, but it's not. There's a gift and a curse aspect to that. To me, curses are habits that form over time. And the longer they are there, the more strong they become. Okay? So that is something that can be broken by finding, again, diagnosing it properly and finding the right spiritual and mental treatment for the situation. Are there spiritual causes to? Yes. So somebody asked, is there a spiritual cause to depression, to PMDD, which is a premenstrual depression? Yes. This is sort of kind of like pre-traumatic distress. This is similar to people who experience miscarriages. It's an energetic grief that happens. It's an energetic grief that women experience when you are going through the menstrual cycle. Because we have to understand, when we are experiencing menstruation, in a way we are aborting a what would have been a vessel for a soul. So as the holder of that vessel, of that egg, we are aborting something, and that can that can lower the vibration of your energy. It's kind of similar to like grief, which can send people into a depression. No, it's kind of like a miscarriage. Some women feel it more than others, because some women are more feminine and other women are more masculine, so they don't feel that energy as much. Yeah, because it's like you're going through a miscarriage. For those of us who've had miscarriages, we understand the similarities in the energy of having a miscarriage. And for some women who are very, 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 very feminine, who are not as masculine, that can be a moment of grief. Having your period can lower your vibration and be a moment of grief, which is why in indigenous cultures, when women were having their menstrual cycle, they would have a circle, and all the girls who had their menstrual cycle, they would have a circle. They would have things like yoni steams. They would have like a pampering session. Even in some Jewish traditions, I believe they still do this, where women, when they have their menstrual cycle, they go into a separate space away from men, not to push women away, but to give them the privacy of going through that process and weep and release the emotional energy attached to that process. You cry over things, you turn into a llorona. So it's a time that we need to have more sensitivity with ourselves, be a little bit more empathic with ourselves, take the time for self-love, self-care, because that is a kind of a grief for us. It's like losing, some people look at eggs like just, vessels and just empty things, but our ovums, our eggs, they are potential vessels for souls. And when they are lost, there is a definite grief that happens. And it's not the same for every single female, but it can happen to many. That's why our indigenous ancestors understood this and cherished that time of the month very much, and gave women the proper time to grieve and to take care of themselves, which is something that we don't have in modern society, which I wish that more people had the ability to do. Women wouldn't work during those times. A lot of us want to call out from work when we have our menstrual cycle. Yeah, that's because we naturally know that we don't need to be around other people's energies. We are in a very delicate state in that time, and you are an open portal, because every time you give birth, your portal opens. Women have their portals open every single month. Their portals open to release the aborted vessel. So you are in a very sensitive period, energetically and spiritually. And in modern society, we have forgotten that. What causes the irritation, short-temperedness, and anger? Those are the different stages of grief. Those are different emotional stages of grief that you go through in a compacted amount of time. This is why I say women are strong as hell. Everything in society wants to tell us that we're weak and that we're too sensitive and all this other stuff, but women are strong as hell. We go through this like death cycle every single month. Death and rebirth cycle every single month. grief cycle every single month. And we're expected to just suck it up, buttercup. Keep it moving. We need to become more aware of that. Yes, I would suggest taking salt baths. And doing some smoke cleansing. A lot of roses. Some lavender. Some tea. Calming teas like chamomile. Florals can be very healing during the menstrual cycle. And if you utilize things like chamomile, lavender, roses, you may find yourself having an easier time. We need to be giving ourselves that time. And then what happens is when we don't give ourselves that time, that emotion accumulates and then becomes destructive to the rest of our lives. It becomes it accumulates and accumulates and accumulates and accumulates because we're not giving ourselves the time to properly purge the emotional energy as well as the physical energy. So then that emotion accumulates and causes disharmony in our lives and causes us to destroy everything else going on in our lives. Raspberry leaves, yes, that's true too. I'm so glad that you find the information to be very helpful. Hello. Yes, definitely. So, the reason why so many women for so many centuries have been called hysterical is because after we lost our indigenous practices, we stopped being able to deal with the energetic and the spiritual aspects of having our menstrual cycles, of processing emotional energy properly. And then when we lash out, oh, she crazy, oh, she hysterical, let's put her in an asylum because she's hysterical. No, she just hasn't had the time to actually deal with the emotional energy and actually integrate and release whatever needs to be integrated or released. And then we wonder why we have such disharmony. Soy Silvia, if that's something you want to do, I have no objection to that. As long as, you're cleaning up after yourself, I have no objection to that. Yeah, we are connected to Mother Nature. When during menstrual cycles, you'll find that a lot of the times, and I'm inviting males to this conversation as well, to understand your female partners more, to allow them to go into nature, to connect with nature during menstrual cycles. Exactly. It's the seen but not heard colonialism. And let me tell you, there are some benefits of colonialism, right? We have sewer systems, we have houses that we can live in that are very comfortable, but there are some unfortunate occurrences of colonialism, and that is the disconnection from nature, the disconnection from allowing us our proper cycles, both for males and females. Allowing us the proper cycles with connecting with the nature, connecting with our mother, connecting with our father in a healthy way. Going to nature and being able to, like I said, I know I used to babysit for this Jewish woman, and every month around her menstrual cycle, she would go to a spa for like a week. And this was when I was a teenager. I was a babysitter for her kids, and I would stay and babysit her kids while she went to the spa for a whole week during her menstrual cycle. Yes, exactly. We have removed the ability for people to experience and connect with their magic. So it's important for us to reclaim those good things of our indigenous ancestry. And there's and have balance between the good aspects and the good aspects of both the indigenous culture and the modern culture. I find that living with a narcissistic parent, a lot of people who are narcissistic aren't just narcissistic, they also have borderline personality disorder, where where one personality says one thing and the other doesn't know, or feels guilty about it, so doesn't acknowledge it. One thing that I suggest with a narcissist is recording them, because they like to gaslight a lot. They like to say, "Oh, I didn't say that," or "I didn't do that." Record them. When you're gonna have a serious conversation about something, record them. Record them. I'm serious. Like, that's the only way that I've learned to deal with a narcissist, is because narcissists, the name narcissism comes from the fact that there is, I think this is a Greek story. Correct me if I'm wrong. That narcissist was so in love with his reflection that he forgot to eat, that he forgot to do anything, and ended up just dying staring at his own reflection. So narcissists are so self-absorbed, and they love sometimes to push your buttons so that they can get your energy, that they need to be forced to look at themselves. Yeah, facing facts is like a death sentence for a narcissist. But again, there are some narcissists that are willing to change when they actually accept that they are narcissists, but they have to be forced to actually look at their own reflection. They have to be forced to actually, because they're so self-absorbed, they have to be forced to look at their own reflection and to see their wrongs. A lot of them don't like to be criticized. They don't like to be analyzed, and they do it to others and gaslight others. Yeah, they're the worst energy vampires. It's a lot of narcissists have inability to create their own positive energy, and they have the inability to they also don't have, a lot of them don't have empathy. You know how we're talking about highly empathic people? A lot of narcissists are highly unempathic people. I'm sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, here's the sad truth of being with a narcissist. You have two options. Either somehow get them to see that they're a narcissist by forcing them to go to therapy, and getting them to actually work on that, or you need to get away from them, because staying with them will drive you crazy. Is there a spiritual reason why you tend to attract people with bipolar disorder? People who naturally have depressive disorders, you usually do attract other people like you, because like attracts like in the spiritual realm. Yeah. The sad but true. Is there a way to unlearn what was done by a narcissist? Yes. I can say this from experience. Someone very close to me is a narcissist, and also has borderline personality disorder. The only way to unlearn is to learn to trust yourself again. Because one of the biggest things that a narcissist does is that they do things and then they make you think that you're crazy, that you didn't experience what you experienced, that you didn't hear what you heard, that you didn't see what you saw. So it's important to relearn to trust yourself. It's extremely important to learn to trust yourself again, to learn to work on your solar plexus chakra, on your sacral chakra. to learn to trust yourself, to release the gaslighting, because that's one of the hardest parts of dealing with a narcissist. That's why I tell you to record them, because gaslighting is their main thing. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, record them. But be careful, because when they are actually faced with the truth, they don't want to accept it and can become very violent. So I would highly suggest having someone with you to support you when you confront them with the truth. Or start to plan your exit. Because when I confronted the narcissist that I was dealing with in my life, with the truth, with video recorded evidence. Oh, you didn't say that? Oh, that's so funny, because here's what you said. Here. They got super angry and extremely, and almost to the point of being violent. So please be careful and be with someone that can support you when you do confront this person, especially if you're a female and you're dealing with a masculine energy that is much stronger than you. Start to plan your exit as well, because there is no curing a narcissist unless they actively want to be healed and to be more positive and more balanced. Thank you so much again for those who are supporting with the badges. All of the badges go to supporting our charitable donations that we are doing. So I appreciate you. And for supporting the community. So yeah, so unfortunately, I wish there was a better way to deal with a narcissist, but you know a great way to deal with a narcissist too? Putting Larimar around the house. Larimar is the stone that forces you to speak your truth. It's native to Dominican Republic, and it can be very strong. It's a throat chakra stone, so it forces people. Place Larimar around your house. It's almost, it like repels narcissistic people. If you want to break cycles of attracting people with bipolar disorder, would the solution be looking for inner balance and peace? Yes, I feel that the solution is always looking for inner balance and peace, as well as having empathy, because I have found in my own experience that is the solution. It is pricey, so definitely save up for it, and make sure that you're getting it from a legitimate source, because a lot of people fake Larimar because it is so pricey. I think I have a piece right here. This little piece was $45. A lot of people fake Larimar. Hold on, I gotta see if my clap-on responds. Yeah, it did. Perfect. So this little piece right here was $45. So I have it also in a form of and this is not even A grade. This is B+ grade, because there's different grades of stones, kind of like how you grade diamonds, how you grade rubies. So this is not even A grade. This is like B+++ grade. Is what I was told. So this is not like the best, but this piece was $45, and it's not even the highest grade. No, it's actually the clap-on from the 90s. You remember, I don't know if you guys remember those commercials, the clapper from the 90s, that you would see like As Seen on TV. I got it at the As Seen on TV store. It's like, clap on, clap on. They have them at the As Seen on TV stores, or you can find them on asseenontv.com. From the 90s. I just aged myself. Yeah. Great. So when you're dealing with a narcissist, I highly suggest putting high vibrational stones around, like Larimar, ametrine too. Ametrine seems to like annoy them, because ametrine is a mixture of citrine and amethyst. So it's Ametrine is actually also really, really good for yourself if you are having trouble seeing the truth, okay? Because it helps you trust your own intuition. Yeah, they still make them. The commercial. I love that commercial. Oh my god, I used to watch that commercial as a teenager. I'd be like, oh my god, I love this thing. And they have some new innovations for the clap-on. You know, things like some stones that I would suggest using, but being careful with not overusing when you're dealing with like bipolar disorder or depression. You use things like black obsidian stone or onyx, but be careful with onyx because onyx can be a little depressive. So you can use it to protect around you, but don't wear it on yourself. You burned out the batteries. This one plugs into the wall, so there's no battery for mine. You're welcome. So onyx, black obsidian stone, black tourmaline is good for protection, but if you suffer from bipolar or depressive moods, don't wear it too much on yourself because it can be a little depressive. Yeah, remember, you are unique. Every one of us is unique. Every one of us is unique, and not everyone can handle moldavite. Not everyone can handle onyx or skullsite. For those of us who are highly intelligent, I suggest sticking to the stones that are for the higher vibrations. It's emotionally and energetically intelligent. I suggest sticking to the stones that are the higher vibration. For those who are more physical and more connected to the third dimension, I would suggest things like the onyxes, the obsidians, the tourmalines. It depends. Yes, tiger eye and pyrite to build the solar plexus back up. Also, yep, to protect because it has iron. Iron is very protective. You're welcome. Yeah. Yes, howlite is very good for anxiety. It's very good for anxiety because it raises your vibration. See, howlite has some iron in it, so it's protective, but it also raises your vibration. So I love it. I love it, especially when I'm overwhelmed by energy. Sometimes some things that are too high vibrational can cause you anxiety as well if you are an energy person. If you're highly emotionally or energetically intelligent, things like Lemurian crystal can help, but not too much because it can be too overwhelming, too much higher energy. Yeah, so let me say this. I recommend for you getting that you should take that advice and wear pyrite or citrine, yellow citrine, or tiger's eye, but I'm getting more pyrite for you. Yeah, sometimes when you are already naturally emotionally and mentally intelligent, the higher crystals, like amethyst, Lemurian quartz, the extraterrestrial crystals is what I like to call them, like moldavite, can be extremely overwhelming, and more on the damaging side rather than the helpful side. All right, everybody. So that's all that I had to say today. I hope that this live brought you a little bit more understanding of the spiritual phenomenon and mental disorders. I know a lot of people got off because they were in their feels about it. That's okay. But I just really needed to address this because a lot of people are being pushed to the side and overlooked or invalidated when what they really need is our help. I'm looking for us to help them, so that we can all live in a much healthier society, much more balanced society. Alrighty. You too, Many Moon. You're very welcome. Yes, so if you're an empath, make sure you're discharging, because you are an energy generator. You take the energy from the environment and you just like absorb it and transmute it. And if you're an empath, you need to be offloading that energy, because then you're just like this generator and you're just like holding on to it like this, and your life is like a hot mess. So remember, as I don't really like to use the word ordinary, because every single one of us is special, but I want us to have more empathy and more understanding for those people who are extremely extraordinary, and they need our support. They need our love. They need our support. They need our empathy. They need our caring, both from a psychological perspective and from a spiritual perspective. And it's extremely important, and it's really what Archangel Raphael is pushing for us to do as a society, for us to do as a tribe, right? So we need to take care of each other, because God knows nobody else. God knows government ain't. All right, everyone, much love and blessings to you all. May you have a wonderful time. I will be doing some zodiac messages this weekend as I feel it. I have to feel it out. I will be doing some zodiac messages. So far Scorpio is winning, but I think Virgo's gonna have to go first since it is Virgo season. Yeah, I'm ready for fall, y'all. I'm ready for fall. It's only a month away. What part of DR am I from? I'm originally from San Francisco de Macorís, and I have family in Moca, in Tenares, and in what's that called? Samaná. And some family in Santo Domingo. But I'm from originally San Francisco de Macorís. Sagittarius will be awesome. Of course, Sagittarius, we're always awesome. Been ready since last year. Yeah, I'm gonna get back into doing more zodiac messages, and I'll also be doing extended zodiac messages as well. So I'm excited for that. Oh, Santiago's not that far. I usually fly into Santiago, and then I take like the 30-minute, 40-minute ride to San Francisco de Macorís. I like Santiago. I like what you guys are doing in Santiago. It feels very like suburbs, modern but not too modern. Oh, nice. Capital in Santiago. Yes. I almost moved to Dominican Republic. I thought about it. I seriously thought about it. I was like, sometime last year I was like, I'm out of here. All right, everybody. So look forward to that. Also, Instagram has made some changes to the notifications. So please, if you want to make sure you always get my notifications, check your notification settings with Instagram, because they have defaulted it to limited based on content or whatever. So please check your notification settings, your privacy settings, so that you are able to receive notification when I go live. Gracias a la misericordia, and many blessings to you all. Thank you for hearing me out. And again, I apologize if anybody, you know what, I'm not going to apologize anymore. I already did that. Because, yeah, I'm not apologizing. Okay? And, yeah. Compatibility signs would be great too. I'll think about that. So that's another thing. Empaths, we have a tendency to over apologize because we understand everybody else's emotions. No more apologizing, okay? That's it. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Make other people uncomfortable. That's okay. But don't mess up anybody else's energy. Many blessings. Bye-bye.